Diamond and Joe Adams from Memphis,
Ladies and gentlemen, in the first bout of this evening, 4 rounds of boxing in the heavyweight division. Fighting out of the blue corner.
Let's go to Bobby
He
Patello
weighs in
again.
at 212 pounds. He has a record of 8 wins, 16 losses, and 1 draw. He's wearing white pants, white trunks with black trim. From Memphis, Tennessee, welcome Smoking Joe Adams. His opponent for this evening, fighting out of the red corner. He's wearing blue trunks with red and white trim. He weighed in at 213 pounds. He has a professional record of 2 wins, no losses, 1 by KO. Please welcome from Pretoria, South Africa, Frans Botha.
Well, Francois is the South African amateur heavyweight champion, the Rough Diamond, but don't be misled by a 2-0 pro record, this being just his 3rd fight. He's held 29 amateur titles. He had a record of 170-10 as an amateur. That's impressive.
Well, he turned pro back in February, knocking out Johan van Zyl in Johannesburg, and then his last fight was on April 9th when he beat Timba Nsweli. He beat him in 4 rounds.
Well, he fights for worldwide promotions, and as you mentioned, just a professional since February, age 22, going up against a 31-year-old Joe Adams. They call him Smoking Joe.
And Joe Adams is a last-minute substitute, but he's terribly difficult to fight. He is real defensive. He likes to jab and move backwards, and it's difficult to catch him when he's down. And what you want to do to your opponent is have him run into his own punches. Together, you get him to add to the force of the punch.
This is good experience for Botha, fighting internationally, going away from home, fighting a fight in another country, and getting that experience of international boxing.
Right, and also here's another thing that may come into play. This is another factor. He's fighting halfway around the world to where he's normally used to fighting. It's a different time zone, and I have fought in other time zones, and it's difficult to get your body acclimated to the zones. Now, the climate here is also difficult because it is extremely hot here in Biloxi, Mississippi.
We're along the Gulf Coast, and the Mississippi Gulf Coast, the Gulf of Mexico. There was a rainstorm today, and it is very humid in this arena tonight. No air conditioning in this arena. Botha and Adams very cautious in this first round.
Well, they're heavyweights. They realize that each other has a lot of power. With all that weight behind their punches, you know, you can take 200 pounds and a bag of 200 pounds and swing it on somebody's chin and they'll go down.
Botha has a 76-inch reach. He weighs 213 pounds. Adams weighed in at 211, has a 75-inch reach. Interesting note here, I think, is Botha has a 9¼ inch fist, a big hand.
And he's landing that big hand all over the nose of Joe Adams.
He really is. There's a good move, aggressive, and Adams up against the ropes.
And see how Adams pulls back from the waist up? Oh, it's so hard to be effective to the head with punches. What you need to do is go downstairs. Go to that body. That's what he's giving you. That's what he's putting out there. Also, you look on Joe Adams, he's got a few extra pounds there in the midsection. Oh!
Knocked down there perhaps by Botha, the Rough Diamond. He goes to the neutral corner. Adams will take a standing 8 count.
Nice left hook by Botha. He set that left hook up by going to the body first. You know, Joe Adams didn't have time to pull away from that left hook. Good looking prospect. Francois Botha.
Botha moving actively with both hands, using the left and the right effectively here in the first round.
From Pretoria, South Africa. He is a heavyweight, and wow, so much interest has been stirred up in that heavyweight division since the defeat of Mike Tyson by Buster Douglas. You know,
people feel like it's wide open now.
I tell you, and it is. You know, it creates a lot of excitement in that division, and who knows? You know.
There's the end of round 1. The sound is not a bell. It's called a Taylor timer, and we'll take a look at that knockdown now in that first round.
Now that bell that you heard is a Taylor timer. That is very confusing. That Taylor timer, if you're not fought in international competition, you don't know exactly what that is, and you can mistake it for something other than the bell. Here is a look at some of that first round action. A good round by Botha. Nice
counter punch and got him with the left.
He set that left hook up with the right hand. Had he not thrown the right hand, which Joe Adams was ducking for, he may not have been effective with the right hand.
Now, his best punch is the straight right, but he got him with the left.
With heavyweights, I tell you, they say, you know, their best punch is many times their favorite punch. With heavyweights, they can hit you with either hand and many times knock you out or knock you down.
Well, Botha has big heart, they say, but he may have bigger potential.
Well, I tell you, Joe Adams has lots of guts. In fact,
to be in there.
I can see some of them hanging over his belt.
Well, he was a late replacement, too. Maybe that's why. The other guys saw Botha and didn't want to fight tonight.
Right. See those little jabs from Botha? I know they're not doing very much, but they're keeping the face and the eyes of Joe Adams busy.
Well, many people felt Tyson would hold the title in the heavyweight division for years and years, but with the surprise knockout by Buster Douglas, it has opened things up, and Botha has got to be a prospect now in his third fight as a pro. Looking very good here tonight.
You know, we talked about him favoring that right hand, but he's got a good left hook, Botha does. And it's easier for right-handers to throw the right hand and to feel more comfortable about that right hand because they're used to using it. It's a stronger hand. Good aggressive punches by
Botha moving forward and moving quickly with the left and countering with the right. This is round 2 of a 4-round bout, the heavyweight division. Francois Botha, the rough diamond in the dark trunks or blue with the red and white trim. Joe Adams in the white trunks with the black trim. Adams has had 5 knockouts. He only had 7 amateur fights. He's 11-9 with a draw in his 21 professional bouts.
Well, he's got an 11-9-1 pro record with those, as you mentioned, 5 knockouts. He manages himself. He takes a lot of fights on short notice like this one, and it shows in his record. I tell you, if you're working out in the gym and you're doing the miles on the road, it's going to be difficult to manage your career too. That's a head game. That's the business side of boxing. It's much easier to hand that over to somebody you trust. Now Botha
against the ropes as Adams, as Botha being the aggressor here in round 2.
And Adams is holding on. He's clinching up. He's tying up. It's tough to hit him with a clean shot. He's loose, relaxed, moving backwards.
As you mentioned, with these big guys, one punch could be the KO punch.
Right, and now what Botha's going to have to do is speed up, drop his rear, and throw more power into those punches. Shorten him up a little bit.
Botha had him on the ropes and came in with the right.
I think he's listening to me. There was a left hook from Botha.
Another left.
Botha is real fast with his punches, fast for a heavyweight.
Looks to be in very good condition, hardly sweating here in a very humid night. We're sweating more than he is.
And I'll tell you, that's dangerous. I don't like that. A fighter in this kind of heat should be sweating. We're sweating. We're not even throwing punches. Well, we're not throwing many punches. We're not catching many punches.
You were waiting for the bell to get in there, but there wasn't a bell. It was that ding-ding thing from the Taylor timer.
Well, you know, the Taylor timer, I've complained about that in the past because I've heard it before. The man who invented it,
and there it is,
Jerry Taylor, says that he is working and he's got it developed for tomorrow, the bell, the Taylor timer for the bell. It's automatic. It is all computerized.
Let's take a look at the second round now from overhead. We have a sky cam in the building as we look down.
And from up here, you get a good look at the pace of the fight. You get a good look at the fighter's feet, how their feet are doing, the punches that they're throwing, their balance. Up there from up top, you can tell a lot of things. This is actually a good shot.
You can tell how Botha moves forward when he throws those punches, really packing a powerful punch in there.
And his thrust is moving forward like a cat. He's going forward with his punches. It is good to throw punches with your weight behind him like he is.
The full extension.
Joe Adams, on the other hand, is going backwards to throw his punches. Here is a look at my scorecard. For the first 2 rounds, I had Botha easily winning the first 2. Now, if you're scoring on a point system, you're going to give 1 extra point for Botha for that knockdown in the first round.
All right, this is round 3, a scheduled 4-round heavyweight bout. And we are live from the United States of America. Larry Madsen along with Sean O'Grady at ringside.
Larry, we were talking last round about the sweat of these 2 fighters. Look at the sweat pouring out of the body of Joe Adams. Now, it should be pouring out that way from Botha. Perhaps what happened is he dried out for this fight. He took all the fluids out of his system. What you do when you dry out, sometimes you spit, You quit drinking fluids the last few days. That could be what's happened here.
They say when you train, you need the water before you feel like you need the water.
Right, that water's going to cool you off. And in this kind of heat, you really, really need it. Now, perhaps what they can do in the corner is flood him with some water over there. Put it on the outside of his body. That water will go into your pores. Now you look at Joe Adams. He's making a bad fight out of this. There's a warning from the referee for holding on. See, he's making a bad fight out of it because he's so defensive. He's holding on, tying up.
And this is just the third round of a 4-round bout. Had this been scheduled a 10-rounder, he would be in real trouble, I would think.
Sure. And a 10-rounder, though, I would suspect that Joe Adams wouldn't take a 10-round fight on short notice.
Well, that's true, too. Francois Botha, the rough diamond, the South African amateur heavyweight champion, now as a professional. This is his third fight as a pro. A big heart, big potential for Francois Botha, and he is really showing his style here tonight on a hot, humid night in Mississippi. 2-0 with 1 knockout as a pro, 29 amateur titles.
And actually, though he's way ahead in this fight, I've got him winning every round, he is learning out there. He's still young as a professional, and he's young in age, too, at only 22. But he's learning and picking up some of the experience from Joe Adams. There he lands a right hand, and Adams goes down.
You look at the standing 8 count. Botha to the neutral corner.
Adams was down in the first.
Second knockdown in the fight.
And now again in this round, the third.
Botha with a body punch. Holding on is Adams now. Adams trying to get in the clinch.
Boy, Adams is a survivor.
Right down in the corner in front of us now.
Oh, look at him hold on. He knows when to hold on, too, Adams does. You hold on when you're hurt.
He hasn't had that many fights, but he's 31 years old. He's got the moxie of a fighter with many more fights than just the 21.
Well, that's the 21 fights that we know about, actually.
That's right. Yeah, that's the ones
he's
reported with. Yeah.
I'm certain that he's had many more fights. Also the fights in the ring.
This third round winding down. We'll take another look at that knockdown in round 3 as we head toward the fight.
Ervaar die stryd van manne om hulle masjiene te bemeester in Havoc 9, 'n opwindende nuwe video van topsport. Daar's tonele van tydrenmotors wat deur woude ploeg, sportmotors wat te pletter gejaag word en meer jaars wat van motorfietsse afval as wat mens kan tel. Geniet dit alles met 'n skoon
man. He's going to try to tie you up all over the place. Hang on, hold on. Taking deep breaths now.
Now, Francois Botha has won the first 3 rounds. You assume he has won this fight. How will he fight the 4th round?
The 4th round, he's got to give it all he's got, even though he's way ahead. I've got him way ahead. But you don't know what those judges are thinking. I'm not officially scoring this fight. And, you know, this is only a 4-rounder. I mean, if it were a 10-rounder, you could afford to lose 1 or 2 rounds.
He's sparred many more rounds than this in preparation for this one.
Absolutely. Been sparring with Lionel Butler, a good heavyweight. Butler went 7 rounds with James Pritchard. He's also been sparring with T-Bone Adams. T-Bone Adams is no relation to Joe Adams. I bet you right now Joe Adams would like to have a T-Bone.
He would like to have some of T-Bone's abilities, too, I think, to take the punch. Francois Botha on the attack now as Adams ties him up. Round 4, the final round of this heavyweight bout. Francois Botha, a rough diamond against Joe Adams of Memphis, Tennessee in the United States.
Well, keep an eye on Francois Botha. He's got a good future ahead of him. His promoter is Tennis Striding, who also managed the WBA heavyweight champion, a wonderful, wonderful fighter from Johannesburg, South Africa, Hedi Kutsia. He was a terrific fighter, one of my idols. I watched some of his tapes, watched how he fought, and was impressed.
But coming into this fight, we were told that Botha had a very strong straight right, his best punch, but he's shown he has a very good left in this fight.
He's shown us that he has a good left, but look how Joe Adams is pulling away from that right hand. He's not been effective with the right hand, but that has something to do from Joe Adams.
Adams has been told he's got a strong right, too, and he's staying away from it. A left by Adams.
Well, look at Adams holding on. Now, when you got a fighter who holds on like that, it's going to take you a while to figure out how to fight these kind of boxers.
Botha continues to stalk him.
Right, what you do is you try to pick those places. You bend around behind. Now, there was a right hand, a right hook to the body. Dig around behind that elbow and hit that body. You pound that body for a couple of rounds. And by the third round, your opponent's not going to be grabbing you.
This is a 19-foot square. Would this be a little smaller than maybe Botha is accustomed to fighting?
I don't think so. Botha has had so many amateur fights that he's
learned all sizes.
It does not matter. I mean, the great thing about the amateurs, you face a lot of different competition, and you basically learn how to fight. Now, to make the transition into professionals, you got to do what Botha's doing here. You got to pick up experience from more experienced boxers.
And it's good to be fighting internationally and being a long way from home, getting that experience.
Exactly. This is a learning experience for Botha, too. What he needs to do is go back to the gym, take a look at these tapes, and figure out how he can knock out fighters like Joe Adams. Quit holding, says the referee.
A warning to Joe Adams in the final seconds of round 4, the final round of this fight. Francois Botha, the rough diamond, against Smoking Joe Adams.
And a good showing for Botha. You've got to give him credit, even though Joe Adams did not want to fight in this match.
And he was a late replacement, not really in top condition for this fight either.
Francois Botha was way ahead. He was in complete control of this fight. Now, in your development as a professional fighter, you've got to learn how to get every fighter out of the ring. You got to knock them out. Many times, you know, it's the referee stepping in and helping you. Many times it's learning how to find those holes in your opponent's defense. That's what he needs to work on now. And that man...
Adams. We'll take a look at the Adams as he was knocked down in the first round.
Well, Joe Adams...
with the right, and watch this right.
You got to wonder if he was in this fight 100%. There's the right hand that set up the left hook. And a good, quick, snapping, fast punch from Francois Botha.
So he had a knockdown with the left in the first, and then you'll see a knockdown with the right in the third.
In the third, right. One side and then the other. Good arsenal of punches is that man, Botha. Here's a look at that knockdown from the third round.
Using that 76-inch reach and that big fist of 9 1/4 inches.
Francois Botha showing us in the first round that he's got a nice left hook. This round, the third round, nice right hand.
Boom.
Boom, there it is.
It was quick.
That was one. Now here's the knockout punch. High on the forehead. And you look at Joe Adams, what he's doing, he's looking away from his opponent. When Botha knocked him down that second time, he had his eyes off Botha. You take your eyes off your opponent, he's got the advantage.
I remember Ingemar Johansson from Sweden when he would say it only really took a 6-inch punch to get the knockout.
Absolutely, and you know, that was a very short punch that Botha threw there.
It's the last 6 inches that counts.
You betcha.
All right, ring announcer Bobby Patalo.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Winner by unanimous decision, Francois Botha.